This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Yeah, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you have on tap for us today?
Well, I said last time it was either going to be Friday by Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin, or Once Upon a Time at the End of the World by Jason Aaron and friends. And it's going to be neither of them because I came up with something that I wanted to talk about more. It's like that
Yeah.
is like all the Alien comics that Marvel has been publishing since they got the license back from Dark Horse.
Wait, when did they get the license back?
Yeah, well, you remember when they when Disney bought 20th Century Fox and they got like all like the Star Wars stuff and like X-Men and like just about everything else.
Yep,
There you go.
got it.
Yeah, so Disney also, in addition to all those properties, like Disney also got Alien and Predator, and they've been published, and Planet of the Apes, and they've been publishing comics based on them as well. So, but yeah, but with Aliens, Dark Horse has been publishing Alien for like comics for like a good long while, like, and like they've been some of the best movie based comics that you could recommend, and like they've also been like available in omnibus formats as well. But if you're going to buy one, then get the original comics, by Mark Verheiden, who wrote the original like Alien series, which basically functions as a sequel to the 1986 movie. It's like it's one. It's not the same kind of like high octane action that powered James Cameron's classic, but it's a more thoughtful science fiction story. It's like that basically that takes like a more thoughtful, measured approach to aliens, like aliens and what they represent to human society, and does some interesting things with Hicks and Newt, or Wilkes and Billy, as they're retitled after Alien 3 just killed them off. So there so it's good stuff. But well, all things must come to an end. And once Disney bought Fox, well, they automatically got the license to those comics as well. Now, while Marvel has been reprinting these comics that Dark Horse published as well, which good on them for keeping these stories in print, they've also been doing their own comics as well. And well, it's like if you thought that hey, like they would treat this as like something big and shiny that hey, we're going to give our some of our best talent to, and like see how things go from there, and then slowly start just getting like whoever's not busy to take on this stuff. Well, that's actually not quite true, but there is this nagging feeling that like Marvel is just kind of like thinking like what you know Marvel's kind of like at an impasse as to like how to make this comic series succeed. At least opposed to like how Dark Horse was doing it at the end of its life, because like at that point, like towards the end of its publishing tenure at Dark Horse, the publisher was like giving it as using Aliens as kind of like a prestige title for like giving like talented writer artists like a showcase for what they could do. Where that worked like with well, not that didn't work with James Stokoe's Aliens Final Orbit, which had his like typically great art, but didn't actually have like a quite as good story to support it. But with Gabriel Guzman doing Dust to Dust, that was actually like pretty entertaining. And so I wouldn't mind seeing what Dark Horse did further there with like giving it to letting letting singular creators take a crack at it. But I don't know, like we'll see how that goes, because because like the current Alien series that's going on right now, well, it's something that I am very very interested in. But I'd also been kind of keeping up with their Aliens comics through Marvel Unlimited, at least until some of them until now, because like the first guy they gave a crack at the series was one Philip Kennedy Johnson, and while he wasn't a huge name in comics right now, he's certainly bigger now than he was when he was doing this, when he started writing Alien comics for Marvel. He's as the guy who did the really great Superman the Warworld saga. I was very much interested coming back to seeing what he could do with this. So basically, he got three distinct arcs on Alien, and if you want to like have an idea of like how well they sold for Marvel, well, um, the first two arcs were published as Aliens 1 through 12, and the third arc was published as Aliens Volume 2 1 through 6. Yeah, Marvel just can't help themselves that when a series isn't quite performing as well as they'd like, you're just going to give it, a reboot right there. Well, 1 through 6, and also prepare yourself for like lots of talk of like, oh, the company Wayland Yutani is up to no good. Like humans are like the aliens are menacing humans. Oh, and there's also like synthetics like in here as well, because one thing I've also been reminded about like while reading this is that while aliens like do share a universe with Predator, they also share a universe with Blade Runner as well. So keep that in mind here, because the first arc, which takes place in the year 2200, about 2 decades after the events of Aliens, basically involves like a security contractor for Weyland Yutani. Their Epsilon station, named Gabe Cortez, who's basically been given retirement. And while it's implied that this wasn't his decision, he decided to accept it, and he's going to like use it to make the best of the rest of his life, considering his service to the company, and he wants to try and reconnect with his son Danny, who resents the time that he spent with the company all these years. Unfortunately, his attempts to reconcile with Danny don't go that well, but like when he's back on Earth. But that's okay, because Danny, in his attempt to meet up with his dad, gets what he wanted: his dad's security clearance for Epsilon Station. Because it turns out that Danny has fallen in with some anti-Weyland Yutani radicals. Now they're going to go to Epsilon Station and expose what the company's bad research has been up to. And well, as it turns out, when Gabe gets wind of this, like from one of his old company guys, he's basically been told that, okay, you've like your son is basically like helped like shit the bed on the station here, so we're giving you a chance due to your years of dutiful service. You can go in, get the alpha sample, and if you can, like save your son as well. Like, what is the alpha sample? Well, it's the one xenomorph that Weyland Yutani has managed to bring back into captivity. It's like, and they were able to do that because, well, like Gabe brought it back in his chest via cryosleep. So this is basically a pretty standard story where Gabe and a couple lunkheaded Marines go in to try and say try and save things, and things go wrong. But there are some interesting bits here as well. Like there's the Bishop android or synthetic being positioned as a as a workhorse for the company now. Basically, he's now like a version of Bishop is now like Gabe's psychiatrist while he's on Epsilon, and he figures into the story. It's like significantly as as it goes on. It's like also there's Gabe's dreams of like a of things in the darkness, of like higher forms of aliens. It's like reaching out to him, specifically when he was implanted with a chest burster while in cryosleep. Oh, and there's also the radical Weyland Yutani group, specifically the its leader, who who basically got Danny into this business as well. And there's some interesting stuff with her going that I don't want to spoil, but it's something that I wish that Johnson had the chance to follow up on, like over the course of the series. Because well, even though he's written Alien comics the most at Marvel, you could also tell that he was like trying setting up for bigger stuff as well. Also seen in the second arc, which takes place 2 years later on a religious colony known as run by a group called the Spinners on a far it's like on a far flung planet that's being overseen by the United Americas. they basically struck a deal saying like, hey, we'll help terraform this planet, and then once we're done, you can go ahead and you'll go ahead and give it to us. And while the United Americans have apparently honored the deal, well, turns out that these far-flung colonies where it's hard to maintain communication and observational security, well, they're actually kind of good for government entities and Weyland Yutani to face off in terms of getting what they want, because like the because the ship that was supposed to seal the deal to hand over this planet Eurydice to the Spinners, well, it crash lands on the planet, and it's carrying some aliens because Weyland Yutani, they're bastards like that. And so this basically focuses on the leader of the Spinners, Jane Callan, who's suffering from a neurodegenerative disease, to basically lead her lead her lead her small group to salvation, and basically just try and get everyone get everyone to safety, while also adhering to the tenets of their their religious creed as well. And it's interesting to see how that plays out here, especially when it's implied that, well, that the Weyland Yutani may have just spun up this whole idea of tech free a technological shunning group as a as a group to just you know uh all right, what am I trying to say? Basically a group that just trying to get rid of all the precepts of war between all the united by the companies and the government. But it's just they're just another group to be manipulated, and just get out into the like into the cosmos so they can be manipulated at will, without any blowback. So that's kind of cool. It's and I like seeing how things kind of go bad for for the characters, as well as Jane's um own problems, which actually turn out to be kind of a blessing in disguise against the aliens. And that's also something that is um hyped up as a potential edge against humanity's battle against the xenomorphs. That's going to be co-opted by the by Weyland Yutani, or at least it might have been had it's like had Johnson be given more rope with his series, because, well, okay, well, these first 12 issues, they had Salvador LaRocca, the great X-Men artist, and artist for Kieron Gillen's Darth Vader series. He's done some really good work, and he does solid work here. But he was off the series after this. It's after this arc, and replaced on the volume 2 series by Julius Ojota. And Julius, he's a pretty good artist as well. It's he's kind of runs Derek Robertson with his emphasis ability, his caricaturesque characters, but with a much thicker line as well. And that's not a bad thing. But Alien Volume 2, set 15 years after the end of the second arc, takes place on basically involves a group of renegade synthetics known as Steel Team. Formerly, it's the United America's one of top combat groups. They eventually split from them when they realized that they're the Americans just didn't regard them as actual individuals or citizens. They're just robots, and we've got no, and we just, and you're just here to do whatever we want. Well, now the Americans are facing a dire colonial threat on one of their series of colonies, where where a nuclear accident has ruined one of their breadbasket colonies. So basically, a billion colonists are facing death unless they can get their hands on this potential miracle radiation cure that was being developed on this colony called Tobler 9, which was which is a development colony that where like bad things, stuff that you didn't want to talk about, or like stuff you didn't want to like admit publicly were being developed, stuff involving the xenomorphs. And so you've got, and so one of the things they've got there is is an egg that may have the cure, at least like to like the radiation facing these like these colonists. So you got these. So basically, it's a fairly standard like extraction story where the alien where the synths go in, like trying to take out the aliens, find themselves outmatched, and then find out that, oh wow, there's actually survivors on this planet. Who'd have thunk? And well, the survivors, well, they've got their own secrets as well, and also some ties. There's also some like tech here that may have some ties to Prometheus as well, and in fact, it may even have some ties to the dark lady that Gabe talked about in his dreams to Bishop, like in the original arc. It This is like it's an interesting like synth focused arc, and while like like Kennedy Johnson does like does like some interesting work with the synths here. It's like it also is like it's kind of fairly straightforward. I mean, I don't think any of the arcs he does are bad, but I can't help but feel he was building to something like more than this. Something that was like that would tie in like like Gabe's dark dreams of aliens in the far cosmos, the war games played out between the government and Weyland Yutani, and this dark lady as well. So, and well, I think there's definitely a level of competence here throughout all three stories, all three arcs he's told here. It kind of it still helps. I still kind of feel that things were cut short here, and that there was more to more to be told, like in terms of what he was doing. So that's kind of disappointing. But then again, I also want to mention, and that's probably a good time to mention that I read all of these comics on Marvel Unlimited. So technically, I read them for the price of free, and so that's definitely not a bad price. And I think that Johnson's three arcs are definitely worth more than that. His his Alien Annual, which tells the story of Gabe Cortez's mission to take out a anti Weyland Yutani group in a space station. Well, that was kind of all right. That was more fan servicey than anything else, because it turns out that the company decided, well, why don't we just send an alien to just try and infect all these people and see how that turns out. Well, things go bad. That doesn't work, and it turns out the synth they sent is a unscrupulous like combat mech that has Ash's precepts from the original Alien movie. Trust me, it's a much better use of the character than trying to replicate Ian Holmes' like performance in Alien Romulus, which is a movie I did like, but all the uh, all the fan service callbacks they tried were just awful. Like from like resurrecting like Ian Holm. Ian Holm is like for this bit of digital zombie, and also just thinking that anyone else besides Sigourney Weaver can deliver or should deliver. Get away from her, you bitch. Um, in any situation, but if you can like get past like those bits, it's actually a pretty good movie and definitely one of the better Alien movies like we've seen. But you can safely skip the annual. I don't know whether or not it's like offered as part of like the collection of comics that were done, but like with Johnson's run. But there you go. You can also safely skip the Aliens Aftermath comic by writer Benjamin Percy and artist Dave Watchter, which basically gives us Cutter Vasquez, nephew of Jeanette Vasquez from the movie, and how his team of combat video activists head back to LV 426 or Haley's Hope to find out, if there's anything left here that can, like get that can ruin Weyland Yutani's day. Huh. Well, yeah, there is, but nothing really comes of it. This is kind of like a fairly pointless one shot that introduces some interesting ideas. It's like, but doesn't actually like do anything with them. Like a frozen, like an ice based predator like alien, and also like some guy who was described as like patient zero for the aliens infection there. But in the end, though, it's like it kind of realizes that it kind of feels like a pitch for an aliens follow up comic that Marvel basically said, okay, yeah, we'll let you do this, and if it sells, maybe we'll let you do the rest of this, Ben. Um, the fact that it hasn't been followed up on at all, um, kind of renders it like kind of a non-starter, and just kind of like you wonder like why bother with this at all. Well, fortunately, since the one shot that I don't think has been collected at this point, it's easily ignorable, and it's all better for that. Um, that being said, well, now that we're out of the Kennedy Johnson era, now we're doing into the Declan Shalvey era, and he's a guy who I think has some really solid artistic chops, as seen with his work with Warren Ellis in Moon Knight, and especially in Injection. But his writing, I don't know. It's like I am less convinced about that, but but I will say these two arcs that he delivers, aren't too bad. Um, the first one, like volume 3 of Alien at Marvel, takes place in the year 2195 and focuses on the Zahn family. Mother scientist Batya, um, father figure Dayton, and rebellious daughter Zasha, who are just like out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in galactic terms on LV 695, which is a basically a big floating ball of ice that they're trying to like find like usable packets of water on. What they find instead are evidence of alien life there, specifically it's like a unique facehugger that Zasha digs up um, like one day, and it's like, and while they're not actually a part of Weyland Yutani, they soon are after word after Batya's word about the like the facehugger her daughter found like is translated back to their original company's um like a home. Well, after that happens, well, we're like Weyland Yutani shows up and informs them that hey, we heard about this and we bought your company, and now it's like we'd like you to tell us all about what you've been doing here. And as they're doing that, well, they're also inspecting the like ice flows for aliens, and whoops, they're it's like their inspections unearth a whole bunch of aliens. It's like and like and well, it's like all sorts of shit happens here. So basically, it's another story where it's like the aliens just start like like it's like ruining everyone's day here. And unfortunately, it's like I don't think that like Shalvey does like a lot of interesting stuff here. I mean, there's bits about there's bits involving a human alien hybrid. There's synths in here like at least like revealed in an interesting way, but it just kind of feels like hey, just another story where the aliens like 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 murder a whole bunch of humans, and humans, especially the corporate humans, are just like the bad people here. There's some heartfelt stuff that happens at the end that plays into the second arc, which I will admit actually does a better job of retroactively making this stuff here more interesting, as it gives like some background into father figure Dayton's history. But it's also just kind of like more of the same of just like, oh, like the humans and the aliens are just kind of like ruining everything here. It's fine. It's okay. Something special. And the annual in between them, like written by Shalvey, is fine, but it's more background story like for the arc as a whole, and more interesting for the fact that it's told silently than anything else. Um, Again, Shalvey's arc here isn't bad, but I don't know. It's like it's not anything special, and you're kind of wondering that where are things going to go from here. Well, after that, I guess the answer here is kind of like gimmickry because next we have the anthology Alien Black, White, and Blood, which is basically like Marvel's like title for comics that that involve like black and white storytelling with spot color. And while blood implies like spot coloring for red, well, there's also like green spot coloring in these stories as well. And most of these stories are fine, not too bad. I wouldn't say that they're like really great showcases for the writers or the artists, but I will say that the story that goes through all of them by hey, what do you know? It's Jackson Kelly, Colin Lansing, guys who are like doing the Star Trek series at IDW that I talked about last time, and artist Michael Dowling. Well, it's actually not too bad. In fact, I think they do a good job of essaying the like some of like the it's like some big concepts here. It's like in a way that that actually kind of pan out interestingly in the end. Basically, it's like it's about like a group of socialists who like are fleeing Earth in order to create like their ideal utopia. It's like at the end of a hundred year, or is it sorry, 1,000 year space journey. Well, they it's like, well, of course, the aliens like show up, and things go badly to the point where, hey, now like we actually need to like wake up the humans who can fight when cryosleep. And oh, whoops, they create a like a like a military government, and they're not able to actually stop the aliens. And in fact, they by the time that they've saved everyone, it's like there's only one section of the ship left, like left for everyone. And then oh well, like these people like are left to live in it's like in it's like in a tight genetically managed society in order to like make sure their genes are diverse enough to survive the trip, so long as as long as no one dies after this. Well, someone does, and in the end, it's like it's their synth who is like left to ponder, like how can I get revenge for them, or is revenge even necessary? What if perfection has already been achieved? It's like by having the aliens take over the ship. That I like that, and it's like the rest of the stories aren't bad. There are some decent ones, like Maternal Instinct, which basically involves a MUTHUR computer trying to get a like the last surviving human out of its out of its bowels, or the or another story involving a young girl who is being raised by its ship's computer, who develops a warped idea about what beauty means when it comes to like being rescued by colonial marines. Everything else not bad, but I don't know. It's like I can't say that I'm dying to like go and read this. It's like in print form. Same goes for everything here. It's like like I said, I'm glad I read this. Is able to read this for free, or for free with air quotes on Marvel Unlimited. But there you go. But well, that brings us to the last story, at least the most recent one. It's like like that Marvel has published and is available to read in full. That is Aliens. What if? And good on Marvel for like applying the what if concept to it's like to the aliens story, aliens universe. I mean, there's like all sorts of crazy ideas you can come up with. Like what if what if Ellen Ripley didn't die at the end of Alien 3? It's like it's like what if Charlie Theron's character ran left instead of running straight in Prometheus? What if we knew what happened to David after the end of Alien Covenant? All sorts of good stuff like this, I'm sure. But well, the concept we're given here is not an inherently bad one, even though its execution is just kind of like whatever. Because basically, this is the full title is Aliens. What if Carter Burke had lived? If you need a refresher about who Carter Burke is, well, he was the corporate tool that was played by Paul Reiser in Aliens. Like, and as far as we knew, it's like he was just alien food after he opened that one door and saw an alien waiting for him in the movie. Now, when I first heard about this, I thought that, oh, hey, what if he had succeeded in his goals? Like, what if this is like the story that we're going to get here? But well, turns out that's not what we got. Even though it actually we're told it actually has the involvement of Paul Reiser himself, because, well, in every issue, the concept is credited to Paul Reiser, his son Leon Reiser, actor Adam F. Goldberg, um, the Hollywood guy Brian Volk-Weiss, who I'm not familiar with, and writer Hans Rodionov, who has some comics credits I am familiar with. I think he did the Lovecraft graphic novel with Andre Bresson for Virgo, which is actually pretty decent. But seeing how like you've got like 5 different people like working on the concept for this series, it's well, what the hell, man? And also, of all the 5 issues here, Rodionov is credited as one of the writers on 4 of them. Like the first issue, he co-writes with Adam Goldberg. With the second issue, he co-writes with Leon Reiser. Issue 3, he writes by himself. Issue 4, he writes with Volk Weiss. And then issue 5, well, he doesn't write that at all. That's written by Leon Reiser. So, like, to be fair, this doesn't come off like as like a kind of mess that the amount of like writers involved would. And also, one of the Alien comics I do have a like spot of fondness for at Dark Horse, the Colonial Marines miniseries, had three writers over the course of its 10-issue run. So how does this turn out? Well, it's not a train wreck, but it is still deeply uninspiring because it takes like the least imaginative what if approach to this. Basically, it says that it basically like tries to find a way in the continuity to allow for like Carter Burke's survival. Basically, if you remember the bit in the basically it supposes where instead of like being eaten by the alien, Burke was like kidnapped by it and just strapped up next to an egg. But before the egg could like hatch and impregnate him, Vasquez and Gorman blew their grenade, and that disturbed it, so that allowing Burke to just escape, make his way back to the to the ship very carefully and very stealthily, in a way that also led him to set up the events for Alien 3, and then supposedly come back to Earth. But as we're told, he was the guy who made the scapegoat for all the bad shit that went down at Hadley's Hope, and so he was sent off to a mining colony on the ass end of company space, just to manage things and live out a distinctly unglorified life with a wife who is like in cryosleep while she faces some sort of unidentified disease. Let's call it space cancer for what it is, and also like a daughter who just resents his existence, knowing what she does about his history. But well, it turns out that Burke has been playing the long game here, and he found a synthetic he was able to repair and send out on a mission to procure a xenomorph egg that he was eventually going to use to impregnate someone, and then hey, here's your alien larva that I was supposed to get all these years ago, so you're gonna like me now, right? Well, this kind of plays out as just as a mixture of black comedy. It's like an old middle-aged guy trying to make right. Maybe this is like Leon Reiser's way of just scoring points with his dad. or maybe like Paul just said, hey, what if like the idea where like Carter Burke wasn't the huge tool that we thought he was. It's not impressive. It's not. It's like it's really kind of like it's really kind of formulaic and boring. And while I do like the art from Guy Villanova, who also illustrated my parts of Kieran Gillen's run on Eternals and in the follow up series Death to the Mutants, it's like he does solid work here, but overall it's like I don't think the world is clamoring for a series where it's like where Carter Burke find a way to redeem himself. Especially one where it's just kind of like feels kind of boring and just like ends in a way that oh, the ending, this is the end here. It's like Burke is going on to like help further save the cosmos from Wayland Yutani's like machinations. It's like no, this is dumb. This is kind of it's disappointing, it's unimaginative, and I think that a much better way to show like what if Carter Burke had lived is if they had just gone full on the it's like like showing stuff that is like completely different than what you would expect from the alien universe. Basically, what if the company got everything it ever wanted? Like what if like basically like imagine like Carter Burke was able to like pull out his plan, to like bring an alien embryo back in Ripley and Newt, and then killed off the Space Marines and the Colonial Marines in order to do it. What and like this and basically saw the star rise in it's like in Wayland Yutani, all in the back of like what delivering a proper viable alien specimen to them, and then just showing us hey, what how much worse can things get when like the company just has everything it wants, when it can just like make like what like whatever it desires with the alien embryo. I just think using like Carter Burke as just like kind of the soulless, personality-less vehicle for that would have been a much more interesting like storyline for that. But that's not what we got here, and you don't need to read this in collected form when it's collected, or even on Marvel Unlimited. Really, it's like if it does get a sequel, don't bother. But and I would say that that's where things are with like with Marvel and Alien. It's like li- living living in just like dumb gimmicky stuff. But well, it turns out that the next thing they've got going for us is actually really cool and something I absolutely will be buying in collected form when it comes out, even if it's published first in hardcover. Yeah, that's how big I'm going here because their next big aliens project is Avengers versus Aliens. And while you think that, oh well, hey, doing the like Marvel superheroes like against aliens, that seems kind of like kind of desperation right there. If you're going to that point, well, would if you weren't throwing Jonathan Hickman and Asad Rabik, the guys who were responsible for like first revitalizing the Ultimates at Marvel, and then delivering like the really great Secret Wars like event. It's like seeing what they can do is going to be like something else, especially since this is going to be an out of continuity series that it's going to let Hickman go as like crazy as he can like with this stuff, because I wouldn't expect like all your favorite Avengers to survive here, because like Hickman's like a big idea guy, and I think that he's someone who can like take this basic concept and push it in some really fascinating directions. But it's like, but hey, it's like that's in the future, and I hope to say good things about that when it's eventually collected. But we'll see. And and honestly, I kind of hope that we had gotten like something from either Philip Kennedy Johnson or Declan Shalvey that offered a sustainable ongoing series like from them. But it was apparently not to be. And Marvel's acquisition of the Alien like franchise has apparently gone to it's like this person like I gone to something like something more reductive further than I would have thought, like compared to their Star Wars stuff. Because while they were originally given throwing all the great talent at Star Wars, now it kind of feels like just like who's decent that we know is available, and same goes for the artists as well. Not that like we're getting like bad Star Wars comics of them, but it just kind of feels like Alien. We've reached that point a lot quicker now than we did with Star Wars. So yeah, it's like go ahead and read all the Aliens comics on Marvel Unlimited if you want. I or just like Phil Kennedy Johnson's stuff is good, but like I said, it kind of suffers because I kind of feeling that there was more he was preparing to deliver here, and if Marvel wants to like give him another 6 or 12 issues to finally deliver on that, then sure, I go and read that. But at this point, I consider the only Aliens comics I'm planning on adding to my library in the future are Aliens versus Avengers from Hickman and Ribic. So there you go.
Cool. You know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, next time maybe I will get around to talking about either Friday or Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, or maybe it'll be something completely different. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Click.
Laters.